Good evening and welcome to the City Council of Connersville, March 18, 2024 meeting. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Collins.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation.
I heard the weather tomorrow is supposed to be a little better than what it was today, first day of spring. That'll be inviting. But, we're midway through the Lenten season. And I was thinking about Lent and how it's a time where we recommit our cause to Christ and our faith. And the Apostle Paul was doing that. Remember, Jesus was already crucified and resurrected. He was no longer with the Christians. And so we find Paul in Romans chapter 8, verses 38 through 39. He was admonishing the Christians in Rome. And this is what he said. He says, I'm persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities or powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So let us recommit tonight our faith. Let's pray. Holy God, our Father, I ask your blessings for this city council, those who have been called to lead the community in which we live and work and play. Help them to not ask first, how do we fix this? But what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind them that they are not only leaders, but also servants, and that is their responsibility to serve the common good of all. Grant them the wisdom and courage to do what is right and good and true. May they speak out when it's time to speak out, and listen patiently when it's time to listen. May they always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of love. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, amen.
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 Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ray.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. Remind you to please turn your cell phones ringers off. We'll begin with roll call.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Councilwoman McQueen.
Present.
Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
Councilman Robb.
Present.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Okay, everyone has the minutes from the March 4th, 2024 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll start now with item B in the new business. We have resolutions 2024-04 through 05 reimbursements. Rosemary?
Resolution 2024-04 is a reimbursement in the amount of $150 going into the DOT motor vehicle repair. Resolution 2024-05 is a resolution to reimburse $150 to go into police telephone.
Any questions on those? Now entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-04 and 05.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Excuse me. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item B, resolution 2024-06 through 12. Rosemary?
Resolution 2024-06 is a resolution to transfer $26,426.35 from general into first aid non-reverting. Resolution 2024-07 is a resolution to transfer $32,904.99 from the local road and bridge matching fund to the community crossing grant fund. Resolution 2024-08 is a resolution to transfer $106,164 from DOT other equipment to DOT non-reverting. Resolution 2024-09 is a resolution to transfer $10,000 from MVH other equipment into the DOT non-reverting. Resolution 2024-10 is a resolution to transfer $5,000 from park mower appropriation into the park non-reverting. Resolution 2024-11 is a resolution to transfer $280,000 from MVH restricted into local road and street matching fund. Resolution 2024-12 is a resolution to transfer $109,000 from the local road and street into the local road and street matching fund.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain the motion to approve resolutions 2024-06 through 12.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Sorry, something wrong with my throat. Item C, we have approval of pending ordinance 3939, which is the zoning / parking rules, ordinance 6999. Bill, you wanna come up, sir?
Certainly. Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to do is just update all the board members of what happened with the county commissioners with the parking regulations. Well, Mr. Strong, the commissioners had some questions, particularly Mr. Strong, and I did not get the comments until Friday, and I was out at the dentist on Friday, so I did not get a chance to see them this morning. But I'll ask if anybody has any questions or comments. But what I would ask is that in order to give me a chance also to work with Mr. Strong's comments and any that city council might have, I would suggest that the city council would then vote no, because of changes or amendments or comments need to be taken into consideration. And so, I know that's strange, me asking someone to say no to what I prepared, but that's what I
Do
will.
we need to vote no or just delay it?
Can we do it?
Oh, well,
Table it?
we're at the end of that 90-day period, getting close to the end of that
If you
period.
if you don't act, then it automatically passes.
Yeah,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we're at the window on that where we need to act now. And so so what I would ask is that you say no, vote no, in order to make any necessary corrections, or for the plan commission then to talk out what's going on. with,
What were the corrections they were asking for?
Well, actually, funny, you should ask. But but what I did do is I did make some copies. I know all of you know that I really don't like to do this, and because you won't have time to absorb them. But I think this is one time I actually did have to do this for everybody, and so. So, like I said, I don't like to do this, but this is one time I really needed to. Because, as you know, I like to have give everybody as long of a chance to go ahead and just hopefully absorb everything. Okay.
You want to give all four of them that way? And
Yeah.
you can send the corrections.
Okay. There you go. And you flip over there, you'll be able to see Strong's comments. Oh, shit, I do have more copies. Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Says, mostly it had to do with, there's some sections in there that Commissioner Strong felt were inappropriate for out in the county. It might be appropriate in the city, but out in the county. So it's one of the reasons too, if whatever is done with that, we can then get something to come before both the city and then the county that will take into consideration either the problems that he has, or trying to work on the language that might say differentiate between the city and the county. Because we did do something comparable where in home occupations where some things might be appropriate in the city and other things would not be out in the county. So, and like I said, as we go on to the second page, third page, those are most of his comments and his concerns. Okay. Then, when we get to the table, is that the matrix, there's one he identified as not possible, it's the nature area parking. And the commissioners brought that up the first time or last time around. Then it makes sense also to probably delete that, and then also the nature facility, that one really isn't practical either. looking through the same lens as the natural areas. Okay, then there's, then he says there's 3 on page 8 that don't work and aren't appropriate for the overall needs. So, and I cannot easily speak to a lot of the questions right now because I haven't had a chance to really throw myself back into the language within these parking regulations.
So what's the process look like again, Jeff? Is this something that has to go back to 8? Once we make, if we have any changes, county exchange goes back to APC, they have to approve it, then it goes back to the commissioners and the council.
So ordinarily, you can make changes and it goes back to the APC. As long as the APC adopts those changes, then it becomes law, right?
Okay.
The issue is, we don't know what those changes are.
Right.
And if we just do nothing, we're getting close to that time period where if you don't act, it becomes law. So if you just shoot it down, I mean, what we would probably do at the APC level is, and I'll look into that, we could either just review it and send it back, but I think I feel more comfortable if we go ahead and get it revised the way both the city and the county want, and then we have another public hearing on it, which is not a big deal.
How much time do we have until that first public hearing to get the changes in?
Okay, what we have is we have 45 days from this point when it gets returned to the Area Plan Commission for the Area Plan Commission to act. So that will take care of it then at the, it'll work out then because next week's the next Plan Commission meeting. So we fall within that window for then the Plan Commission, for me to talk to the Plan Commission, prepare the language, and then with the Plan Commission then to act and then send things back to the commissioners and the council.
Okay, so
We'll
we
talk about that process, but the biggest thing is, and I think that we're now seeing that we need to be probably more specific between city and county. Like within city limits, some of these things make sense, but the commissioners have concerns about those actually making sense in the county, which is probably a good thing. I will advise, there is currently and I think some people are confused by this, there is currently a parking ordinance. This is not adding 15 pages or whatever. This is, our hope is we're simplifying it. We're making it easier for the situation. What's happened is you get some of these commercial companies coming in and they can't, the current ordinance, they can't comply with it.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense. And on some level, you want these commercial entities to be able to dictate how much parking they need. Like, we shouldn't be telling them they need that much parking. They're not gonna start a business and do it if they don't have enough parking. But there does need to be some regulation, but we probably need to simplify it, which is what this is doing. There's very little that's been added that's more restrictive, I think. I think there's been a few things added to it, but those probably make more sense in the city than they do rural areas. I think one of them was what we talked about.
Well, the one we went around and around about was, and I think Brad will also, it was the ones with because the changes within people driving semis, because it's just exploded as a job. The large numbers of people do that. So we're trying to find out a way to, because right now, the way the current zoning code is written, it's that, sorry man, you can't have those. You gotta find some place to actually put them. But most of these people now are they own their own vehicle. So it's not like they go down to the warehouse, pick up the truck, the people that they work with, and then take the loads and the loads back. Yes, and some people, I think all of you can verify that, that people park their, their semi trucks on their own property. So trying to find a way to actually make that easier to do, rather than because you hate putting blinders on with something, even though it makes sense. I mean, because the regulation doesn't make sense. So it's trying to make sense of that. Then the other one, then with the numbers, one of the other ones with the numbers is all about reduce the parking space, you reduce the paved surface. You reduce the paved surface, you don't have as much water going into the city, stormwater system. So you're actually gonna, and part of that is to reduce that load right there. You reduce the load, you have more green space, you have more green. Me personally, I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Okay, so we understand the process now. Now we need to see what changes or input council has for them at this point, if you have any. If not, that's fine too.
Bill, I'll start you off.
Yeah, oh! How did I know?
At least on the long form, page 2, I guess it's page 3 of the other one you handed out, at the very bottom, C, for residential parking standards. Primarily looking again at residential parking, the number 1, general standards. It says, in no instance shall any vehicles be stored, so I'll stop there. That's referring to
Yep.
long-term winter vehicles? Or is that a derby car, or is that?
Okay, that reference is trying to be about the, okay, all right, that's the front setback, side setback, and rear setback. Okay, that could be, it's trying to discourage, okay, primarily it's trying to discourage the parking of the unplated, the non-registered, non-functioning cars, where things just, take it there and just stick it there and just leave it there. And, yeah, the language could be worked on with that, I'm sure.
So, yeah, because Indiana code, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, already covers that. So
Yep.
if we aren't specific on what can be stored there, technically, so let me keep going real quick. And it says, or parked in any front, side, or rear yard, which is also known as the setback.
Yep.
Then it says, temporary parking of vehicles in driveways, access from the street and passing through the yard are exempt from this requirement. So I can or can't park my car there.
Okay, it should be, yeah, I see where you're getting on
Well,
that.
first of all, Councilman Collins is correct. It's illegal to have a plate that, or to have a vehicle without proper plates that's
Yeah.
visible from any roadway.
Yep.
So that is taken care of by state code.
But if we're gonna mention it, we probably need to match it.
Okay, okay, and,
I don't know that it's necessary to even mention it, quite honestly.
Okay.
but if I could get a little bit on the, back and forth on the internet with you about that, because it's the, so, you know, so dealing with, to have the language in place, if we're gonna actually keep the language there, or how to make reference to the Indiana code with that.
Yeah, and to give you an example, let's say a small residential, single family.
Yep.
There is, and a lot of older homes have the one main driveway.
Yep.
And then they have the markers on the curb that indicate a second driveway.
Yep.
Even though the curb has not been removed for a driveway. So you have mom working in one parking spot.
Yep.
You have dad driving in another parking spot. And then you have a 16-year-old kid getting ready to park their car in the front yard too.
Yeah.
And let's say their side and backyard is blocked in for the dog. Technically, if I park that car in the middle, am I in violation?
Okay, I'm sure you're getting that, yeah.
It doesn't function. We've got to function with
Yeah.
how life goes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, there are things in there which are trying to take that into consideration, and I didn't even look at that particular thing right there.
I'm trying to figure out, remember what the purpose of that was. To me, that
Well-
might have been green space as far as parking in a yard
Yeah.
versus parking in a
Well,
driveway.
this is actually
I
something
don't
that's
know.
left over from the
Right.
existing
So
regulation.
that's some of that, is that just got left over, but I think, Mr. Collins, I'm not sure. I guess the question is, if it's gravel or blacktop, it's a driveway and it's proper to park a car on, right? What if it's,
Depends.
what if it's their yard?
It depends. You
What
can
the
debate.
parking-
You can debate what a driveway is based on the curb. If I just put cement on the other side of the curb, is it now a driveway? Because there's a lot of driveways that are actually still curbed, and then at some point, years and years ago, they painted them and marked it as a entryway to a driveway, but have not actually removed the curb to make it a driveway. But yet, I park there.
How is it marked as a curb? I've not seen that, I'm trying to envision.
Marked as a parking space, you got your yellow indicating an entry point.
Okay. But there's still a high curb off the street?
Yes.
Well, some subdivisions, they created the curb and the curb stayed there because it's a rain gutter. A lot of people think curbs is just for vehicles. It's a rain gutter.
Sure.
So your curb is there as a rain gutter, and then they put their entryway over the curb. But this might have been a spot where they had marked it for no parking before. Someone put a driveway in, I'm assuming.
It would make sense if that was all the way down, but there's cutouts for one, Office Park, for instance, there's a cutout for each house.
Right.
For one driveway.
Yeah.
But, talking about the rain, I get that part, but that was, the rain gutters actually have a dip in them.
Yeah.
With some of the paving that's been going on in years past even, they've covered over that.
Yeah.
So the rain gutter doesn't even function as it was intentionally put in. So that's kind of null and void at this point. But what I'm saying is, I can't access my front yard to park a car without driving over the curb or driving through a place that technically isn't a driveway.
Okay, I understand that, okay. All right, and do you have that stuff written down?
Yes.
Well, okay, if you could, I guess if after the meeting, if anybody has comments or something, if you could leave that with Rosemary, and then I can pick it up from Rosemary tomorrow.
Okay.
That'd work great, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's the, if you don't mind. But, yeah, that's something that's, that was never brought up and never looked at along those lines.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, because there's other places like that also that, perfect example of things not working because when they're built is 8th Street. Yeah, okay,
I was kind of wondering the same thing on that one as well, Bill, with,
Yeah.
just because like in my neighborhood, I know there's a few neighbors that they have multiple children, teenagers driving. And so they're actually parking, they have their driveway,
yeah,
but then they have lines of cars parked in their yard. And that kind of, the way that is worded right there,
yeah.
it sounds to me like they would not be allowed to do that because they're really parking in their own yard. So they're destroying their own property, but there's not any other place for them to park either, so.
Okay.
Maybe it's better than the
Oh.
sidewalk that they were parking on, so there's that.
Yeah,
So what do they have to do to widen their driveway with gravel or?
okay, well, I guess part would be to, it probably wouldn't be feasible making someone put in gravel if they want to have multiple places. So
Do you have to have a permit to do that?
No, we don't require a permit, and the city doesn't. The only thing the city ends up requiring is if someone's putting in a new drive cut. You know, to make sure how it's gonna affect anything with the on-street parking is one thing. But that's about the only time that would really come into play, the permit. Okay. No, it's, like I said, that's one of the reasons we go through this process, is to get these comments.
So the second part, for example, temporary parking of vehicles in driveways.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that one right there should be, because the temporary is actually in reference to should be in reference to when someone is temporarily parking an RV in the driveway. For someone to actually stay in it. But, one thing that's in here is with some language is that I did change, because in the way the existing one states is that the parking for, even if it's done well, you've taken care of it and it's not something that's decomposing. The way it's currently written, it doesn't allow you to actually park your RV on your own driveway, which I think is absurd. So that's one thing I did try to get changed as far as with the.
That was gonna be my second question, if people are allowed to park RVs
Yep.
in their own driveway.
Yeah.
In the city limits.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to get changed. That was one thing we did get changed that I inserted in there. But yeah,
People just can't boondock for more than 7 days.
the 7, that one with the 7 days, yeah. Okay. Okay, we also the RV parking, okay?
I agree with his nature area because,
Yeah, it's,
yeah, it's not feasible for,
no, it's then same thing with the recreational facility, it's water-based.
yeah.
It's so right now it's like, okay, we've got the pool, okay, it's.
Well, I was thinking of Mary Gray Bird Sanctuary because
Yeah.
it's how many acres?
Exactly.
Six?
Yeah.
600 acres,
Yeah.
so that's a.
And that's what
lot
they
of
brought
parking.
up. And, well, in any case, it wouldn't really apply to something that already exists anyway.
To be grandfathered.
Exactly. But yeah, that's not always clear with everybody, so I think probably between that and that recreational facility and with swimming, it's, you should probably go ahead and zip those out.
So moving on to A. Down
Oh, you're
from
not done yet?
C1 and then 2, and then back over to, on the long form, it's 3. Still be,
Okay, see, residents, the residential stuff.
yeah, so some homes have one driveway,
Yep,
even the newer homes.
yep.
So is that what we're calling sufficient space for off-street spaces?
Yeah, that's the, yeah,
Would this only apply to new homes?
okay, all right.
And then how would it apply?
Yeah, anything that already exists that has things, okay, because I know some people have the curved drives, you know, on there, so that one would, yeah, some situations where that would have 2 drives. But yeah, it's the, yeah. Okay. Ask me that question again. I got
So
lost.
A, it says spaces requirements, a minimum of 2 off-street spaces, either paved or of crushed stone, are required for each dwelling.
Yeah, a minimum, yeah.
A current home that doesn't have that, we're not gonna like
Right.
drive around and force them to have that.
Right,
This would be
but
for-
what would a future home being built,
Well,
one driveway suffice?
well,
Is there
like I
a
said,
certain-
it's minimum, they can have more.
As long as the driveway is long enough to park 2 vehicles in it.
Or wide enough to put park
Or wide
next to
enough
each
to
other.
put-
Okay,
Yeah,
that's all I'm asking.
oh, okay. Yeah, we're kind of on that one a little bit. Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Which this one makes sense. You wouldn't want somebody building a new residence and not have 2 off-street parking spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides, one thing that also controls also with parking and driveways also are subdivision covenants. So, so that also controls right there. And,
I'm done, I'll leave you alone.
you promise?
For now. For now,
Until next public hearing, right?
for now.
Anybody else have anything?
No, we're putting it on.
Okay, so we need to take a motion to
If I can get that from you,
not
huh?
approve this, correct?
Which one do you want me to, which one do you?
I'll make a motion.
Hold on.
Oh, no, well, if nobody else has anything.
We still gotta vote on it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'll take those.
So do I have a motion to reject? This is the first time I've ever asked for this, Bill.
Yeah,
Do
no,
I have a motion to reject
Motion.
I'll second it.
pending orders 3939? So I got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That was a first.
it was the first me asking for that too.
That was a first.
Yeah.
All
Was
right,
that really
thank
hard
you,
to do?
sir.
Huh?
Was that really hard for you to do?
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, thank you. But,
Okay.
if I can get copies of that. Yeah, right there.
I didn't write anything down.
Oh.
Do you need me to write?
Yeah, if you can go ahead and do that, well, you have my emails, if you go ahead, email that question to me also, so I make sure I have it right.
So here's the form you gave me back, and I just wrote it on top.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Move on down to department reports, Mr.
Wait,
Wolf.
you forgot,
I'm sorry, what'd I do?
we have to add the TIF financial report.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to vote on that, do we?
No, but they need to
Okay. In front of
acknowledge
you.
that they
Thank
have
you.
it.
I just need you to acknowledge you received the TIF report. Everyone receive it?
Yes.
Got
Yes.
acknowledge, thumbs up? We got it, okay.
Thank you.
Move on down to department reports. Mr. Wolf, you're up now.
Good evening, council. I'll be covering the ordinance office report for February 2024. During the month of February, I initiated 45 separate violations that we addressed. 19 were related to accumulation of trash and rubbish. 18 of those, all the residents willingly and voluntarily took care of the issues themselves, and we only had to involve the street department for 1 issue. 8 expired license plates, abandoned vehicles or demolition derby car removals. 2 for parking positions. 4 interior furniture outside the homes, which included mostly mattresses. 2 obstruction of streets. 2 excessive noise. 2 harborage of rats, snakes, mice, and vermin. 1 dilapidated building. 1 private dump, which is going to turn into a little longer-term project and cleanup, and even possibly abatement of an alleyway. Because the property owner owns all 4 around a fairly plotted alley that's actually not there. So I'm working with them to get them the information of how they could submit the paperwork, talk about it, see if that's something he's willing to do. One animal restraint required. That involved me assisting one resident with the capture of 11 feral cats over about a week and a half time frame. One abandonment of animals, which resulted in the replacement of 4 dogs left at one home. I was able to contact the owners, get in touch with them, and they were able to come back and actually rehome the animals without any issues. One yard exception relating to the storage of vehicles, and one request for assistance from the public who wasn't really sure what to go or which route to address an issue. So far, the City Focus Area 1 has been completed, and I'm currently following up with several residents that need a little bit more time to finish the cleanup from Section 1. Area 1's first impressions tour has been completed, and the remaining notices will be going out this week, and that was the tour from 1st to 17th Street down Central Avenue. And during the remainder of this month, I'm going to be focused on following up and re-inspecting on areas that have received violation notices since January. And just to ensure that the larger projects are being followed up to on a regular basis and staying on track. And I want to make sure that all of the prior resolved issues don't begin developing again, to where I have to recite them again. Any questions?
Good job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Director Colter.
Howdy.
Hello, Mike.
What's up?
I wanted to tell you about a couple of things, and then you can, if anybody has any questions about any of my reports. One, we got okayed to receive a Phase 2 grant for our lead and copper project. As you all know, you've heard us talk about it, we're compiling information, and in October we have to have compiled an inventory of how much lead and copper we have in our system. So that's something that Mike's been working on for probably about 2 years, and we needed to get another grant from the IFA, which will help us put those reports onto our GIS layer. So once we have that, we'll be ready to submit, and then over the next couple of years, we're going to have to start to do more things like actually replace some of those services. So that was good. That was free money from the IFA. You just have to ask for it, and we did. So we had got a Phase 1 grant for $20,000, and that was something that Commonwealth worked on to put those to help us put that information on spreadsheets. Now WTH will take the spreadsheet and put it on our GIS layer. I also wanted to tell you, I've talked to you quite a few times about water bond projects. We've been working through the preliminary engineering, and I just wanted to tell you, in discussions with the mayor, we decided to push and not apply April 1st of this year for IFA loans, grants, and such, because with my impending retirement this summer, we just thought it was bad timing to put that, to be in the middle of that process with a new person coming on. And I also thought it would be a good idea for the new director to be able to put his imprint on this project, because it's going to sort of lock you into something for a 10 or 15-year period. And, I've kind of already got the project part of it designed, but now the next person will be able to tweak that some before it would be implemented. So kind of wanted to let you know that. And one last thing I wanted to talk about. We're getting ready to do some work out in the ever popular mulch strip in the city downtown sidewalk. So I wanted to take an opportunity to explain one more time why we have a mulch strip, because I'm sure when we start working in it, it will spur unhappy comments. So I thought I would tell you again, just so if anybody asks you. The mulch strip was a necessary thing that we had to design into the sidewalk. I say we, because I helped. We needed it for drainage. That was one big reason, but we also needed it as a place a lot of times when you do those kind of projects, you take the street out. And you can adjust the grade in the street when you do that, but since we didn't take the street out, we had to adjust the grade of all the different heights of the buildings and the door steps had to be adjusted in the sidewalk. So when they put the mulch strip in, you'll see that that mulch strip kind of goes up and down, all the way up and down through the sidewalk, because that's the adjusting of the grade so that you can meet the ADA, what would you say, angles of the sidewalk,
Get the slopes.
the slopes.
You have to have slope away from the building and with the building.
So anyway, I thought I'd get that out there one more time, because I'm sure when we start planting the rest of those plantings, then everybody will hear the comments, so. Did anybody have any questions or anything about any of my reports?
You might mention what you mentioned at the Board of Works meeting about the train trestle road.
Yeah, we were talking today about, the mayor and I have had several meetings now with NDOT. We have a couple of very engaged people at NDOT trying to help us with some of our problems. So we had a meeting and they let us know that, in the next year or two, they're gonna install, when did they say exactly? You remember? The trestle lights?
Next year or two, they're gonna start, they're doing some markings. And then we talked about three things: the markings in front of, on Park Road, in front of Dollar General, the trestle, and then Vine Street. So we got three projects we're working on together with them, trying to get
Right.
solved.
So they're gonna put in lights at the trestle that will work sort of like the old ones used to, where they just kick on when a truck. So they're not just numbingly flashing all the time and people get used to it and don't even pay attention. They'll kick on when a truck trips the signal. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you was that we are actively working on a solution to the Vine Street water flooding situation. Over the last couple of years, we've been studying it, and I think we're in a place now where we have them on board to help us with the project, so.
Did they say anything about if they were going to do anything with the indentations from the former markings on Park Road to fill those
We
in?
talked about it, and I don't think they have a solution yet, but we did suggest, and then I got a call after our meeting, I don't think I told you, from our local NDOT person, and they have an infrared
They
machine,
do.
so they're looking into trying to get rid of those dips,
Yeah.
especially for motorcycle riders.
Well, if it gets icy, especially, it'll get in there first and, I mean, that's, yeah.
They didn't give us
Potential.
what their solution is, but they said they're actively pursuing a project to make it better.
Right.
Is there any talk of anything going on for the hospital right there on Park Road in the future?
As far as what?
Lights,
The
new
hospital is
markings, I
requesting
mean,
a
they messed it all
stoplight.
up with a Dollar General, and we're gonna have a hospital, so.
The hospital's trying to get a stoplight, but the last I knew, they weren't.
We requested it, hospital requested it,
I know that Scott's been trying to
yeah.
help make it a safety issue, and I don't know what he's heard lately, but the last I knew, NDOT will not approve that light.
Right.
So you're gonna get the same kind of squeeze down probably in front of the hospital.
That's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Man,
we've been trying, but we're not getting anywhere with that.
we'll have to do something.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Director Powley.
For the month of February, we had 11 hours, 50 minutes of media production, 14 hours, 42 minutes of original production, 7,814 views on YouTube, 1,248 watch hours, and an increase to 3,547 subscribers. Top content for the month, basketball, no surprise there. Everybody likes to watch that. Couple of things, the State of the City address is now available on the YouTube channel, so you can watch that, youtube.com/localtv3. Also, we will be taking pictures with the Easter Bunny. I don't want to take too much away from the park, because she's going to talk about that, I'm sure. But that'll be this Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. So you'll be able to have your picture taken with the Easter Bunny. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
Chief Harden.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everyone should have a copy of my February 2024 report. We returned a total of 350 calls for service with substantially for February. So our February average is 307. So at 350, that's actually our second busiest February since I've been tracking it, and that's been since 2015. See my staffing reports, I still do have one medic vacancy. Fuel usage and our fuel tax rebate was submitted for $218. The week of February 11th, we did go live with the new radio system. Going well, we found a few bugs, both on the dispatch side and with the radios themselves, working with dispatch to correct those issues. There's a piece of equipment in the basement called a combiner. I didn't even know existed. That apparently is the last original piece of equipment in the basement. So that's going to have to be replaced. It's leading to a lot of squeals as the channels basically compete for an antenna space. So that's going to have to be switched out. And then we're working with the vendor to do another reprogramming to fix some of the issues that we found. So we usually take December and January off on our audit reviews, which is our monthly training with Dr. Kraft from Reed Health. So we started those back up in February. So we'll be continuing those every month. She presents a topic, we review calls. The other thing that we did in February is anyone on a transport service has to pass a yearly protocol test. So we managed to get that completed in February as well. Does anybody have any questions on my monthly report? As you're talking about traffic on Park Road, just as the meeting started, there was an accident right in front of our building between us and the movie theater, which is not an uncommon occurrence. And if we had more traffic up there, I can only foresee that getting worse. I actually downloaded the video, so it is hard to make an cross traffic left turn on Park Road from our building. A lot of times I turn right, go down to 24th, make a loop around and go that way, because it's just, sometimes it's not safe to do that. So just food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Steele.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we are currently taking summer discovery counselor applications. We'll be doing that for a few weeks. And we're also, registration is open now for summer discovery, so parents can start signing their kids up for summer discovery this summer. We've begun the process of planning for our Renaissance Fair. We are going to do that on Saturday now of October 12th. We decided to move it to a Saturday instead of during the week because everyone wanted more time at the festival, and we want to be able to provide more activities. And then we'll do an evening movie towards the end of the festival. We are partnering with the Farmers Market Director Stephanie Ruff, so if anybody wants to have a booth, they can contact us, or they can contact Stephanie with the Farmers Market. Living Well, Aging Well is going really well. It's taken off and everyone seems to be really enjoying it. We continue to add new activities each month, and this month they are doing line dancing, and we've had well over 25 attend line dancing, and so they've really enjoyed that. And to view our monthly calendar, you can visit our website, or you can go to Member Me Plus app, which is the park app, and you can get all the information on there. We did have a park public meeting. I didn't put this on the on my report, but we had a public meeting last Thursday, March 12th. This is to talk about the comprehensive plan that we're getting ready to write, and so we invited the public to share their opinions. One of the main things that they shared is that they would like to see more walking paths and paths that connect to each other. So that's one thing that we will be looking at putting into our park plan. Our survey is still open. It's on Facebook. There is a link. There's a QR code that you can scan. So if you haven't taken the survey yet, I would highly recommend it. It's going to help us to gather that information and put into the 5-year park plan. The survey will be open through the end of April, and currently we are at 454 surveys as of last Thursday. So it'd be nice to see 500. So it'd be great to get, just a few more is all we need to reach 500. So encourage others also in the community to participate in that survey. One of our maintenance men is going to travel tomorrow and Wednesday up to Indianapolis and take the aquatic facility operator course. And this will help him become certified because he is the one that does all the maintenance at our pool. And he did a great job last summer. He took that over from a previous gentleman that worked at the park, and he picked it up pretty quickly. There's a lot to learn, so this is just going to help him do his job better. So he's going to be doing that certification. April 8th, we will be having parking available for viewing the eclipse. We are looking for volunteers to help with directing traffic, and we're going to have our concession stands open at the park and also at the soccer fields. And we also have glasses available at the park for purchase. Let's see. Our March board meeting, I'll just mention, the schedules didn't meet with everybody on the board for the park, so they decided to do an email vote for all of our claims and payroll and everything. So we will not be having a March board meeting. Our next board meeting will be April 22nd. This week we are having brownies and bunnies. I think John mentioned that. They're going to be coming. John and Justin will be coming and taking pictures with the Easter bunny like they did last year. And those will be up for viewing on our Facebook page. And we are going to have lots of booths and activities and fun things for families to participate in. So that's March 21st from 5 to 7. And then on Saturday, March 23rd from 9 a.m. to 11, we are having breakfast with the bunny and painting offered. So, and that is by ticket. So you have to get your tickets in advance to be able to come to the breakfast. And then May 16th is the Elders Luncheon. Does anybody have any questions? Okay,
Thank you. Chief Jones.
When did you get that? Park, I never did get park one.
Good evening.
You want that one? No.
All right, we'll start off with the monthly report for the Connersville Fire Department for February with the overtime.
I didn't, yeah.
Sorry.
You guys ready? Okay. Overtime total $2,599.65. The scheduled overtime, FLSA portion of that was $1,432.17, and the remainder was from manpower shortages. Moving on down to fuel usage, we used 296 gallons of fuel for the month for a total cost of $1,294.20. Total incidents for the month, we had 192 incidents. 32 of those were fire related, 150 EMS related, and 10 of those were auto accidents. I did have to resort to getting readers. I can see Rosemary staring at me. So yes, I'm getting older.
That's good.
Yeah. It was better than standing up here doing this. So, anyways, moving on to training hours. For the month of February, we had a total of 84 and a half instructed hours. As you can see in the summaries in the rear of the packet, a lot of those hours were from an investigator class that we put on. Several of our guys took the class to get their certifications, and we also had 3 firefighters from Seymour drive up and attend the class also. It was approximately a month or so. So that's included in those hours. Moving on down to inspections, we had a total of 9 inspections. One of those was from a complaint, and we didn't have any hours of fire investigation for the month. The only other thing I have to add is I did get approval from the Board of Works to replace. I have one firefighter who resigned. He took a position at the Fishers Fire Department, so for more pay, so I did get approval to replace him. That's all I got. Any questions? You guys were discussing earlier, when Brad was up here about the possible stoplight, where Reed's going. We did have a meeting, a Zoom meeting, and my recommendation was for a light. I don't think you were able to make the
Not that
meeting.
one.
We met a lot of resistance with NDOT. That's a spot where we do have a lot of accidents, most recently a fatality. I recommended a light. I presented reasons why we needed the light. Told them I would get some numbers back to them, but we met a lot of resistance with NDOT. So I'm doing what I can to persuade them. I feel like it's going to bring more traffic to that area. So
Do you know why they're resisting? Like, why are they so resistant?
They stated, statistics. They did traffic statistics in that location in the past. I just kept pushing the volume of traffic that's going to increase, because from what I understand in the meetings that I've been in with people that's building the facility, that all of their locations are going to go to that one location, like, all their offices, so I just think that the added amount of traffic in that area, to me, is a no-brainer. Their traffic studies, they said that they did a traffic study like a year ago, and I said, I don't understand how that's pertinent. You need to calculate you need to calculate the load, try to calculate the load that's possible to go into that location. We haven't had another, that's probably been a year ago, maybe.
Oh, we've had meetings since then, they just keep telling me that.
Well, I haven't been invited to another meeting as far as, the last one was a Zoom meeting with, the Reed wants one.
Yes.
Their representatives, was in agreement, with myself and, Bill McDaniel was in the meeting. We recommended one, we were pushing for one, but, NDOT, claim that sometimes the addition of a traffic light can cause more accidents, and, I personally disagreed with that, so. I would hope to think that, it would, slow traffic down.
I was gonna say, it would slow traffic down all the way down through there,
So.
which is a problem.
Are you talking now, as far as placement, we're talking Reed, but are we talking at 24th Street, or are we talking right at the
It was
entrance?
gonna be at the entrance.
Because that would be a problem with 24th Street.
Well, they were looking at putting a light at the main entrance, because there would be, I think there was gonna be another side entrance off of 24th Street, if I remember correct, but the main entrance was going to be off of Park Road.
Where they
That's
have
what
it fenced in, it looks like they're coming off of 24th, right there behind Kunkel's. Like
No,
the
they couldn't.
fence goes all the way back.
You can't go by the fence, that's just a construction fence.
Right,
Main
but I mean,
entrance.
even if
Yeah,
they
the
have,
entrance-
even if they
the
have an
entrance
entrance
all the way
there,
over.
whether it's an entrance, whether it's an exit, and then you have one in the middle of, between 24th and 30th, you still have traffic coming, again, increased traffic right into basically gridlock, because if you have a stoplight and then you're running a road right into that, it would make more sense to me to put it at the intersection that kind of halfway exists already.
Well, I mean, there was a light there when Kmart was there years and years ago,
Right.
so.
Well, like I said, we haven't had a meeting, or at least I haven't been in a meeting, since that one.
They just said that the traffic count does not justify a light. They think it'd be more of a hazard putting a light in than not having a light. Actually, because it come from accident on 24th Street, is where we first presented it, and then Reed come on. We thought this is a win-win for both, and they just said no.
Is there a way to get a unified resolution from the city stating that with all the department heads? Having a stronger stance, Jeff, maybe?
Probably not.
You can present a united front, but I think they see the united front. I would have thought Reed, to be honest with you, I would have thought the city and
They'd
Reed
have the
being
pool.
involved would be enough, but
Yeah.
my guess is you'll get one. It just might be 6 months after it opens up type thing.
Or a year, and when something happens, when they have the problem, when the problem
They
exists,
just, because
the
they'll come and do their
statistics.
traffic study.
Yeah.
So they're not, in my experience, and I'm certainly not an NDOT experience, you guys have seen where they put those things down and they can keep track of the traffic. I think they're less at projections and more at what the actual traffic number is. So I don't think they're probably geared as well to say, here's what we expect the traffic to increase. They're just saying this is what it is right now. And so once that facility's in, then I think they'll see, okay, wait, there is actually heavier traffic, and I think you'll get it. You just might have 6 months or a year of that.
They did mention the fact of doing another study after, that it's, up and going, but.
See, I think they're more geared towards what the numbers are versus projected numbers, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think that's kind of how they're geared.
Well,
Sounds like
I mean,
they're-
everyone sitting here knows how difficult it is to pull out from anywhere on Park Road. And, the way I look at it is you're gonna have a volume of people at that facility, and then you're gonna have a line of those people trying to exit. And then once you sit there for so long, you get, and we just a little bit ago, Clint pulled up on his, there was a wreck right in front of the EMS building. Clint pulled up on his camera and you could see it. Somebody just pulled right out. So when you've got a line of 8 or 10 people wanting to get out of that facility, because I think, there's gonna be a lot of people at that building. So, they get tired of waiting, they tend to pull out, when they're not supposed to, and I just feel like traffic light, slow things down, give people the opportunity to get out, but.
Sounds like NDOT's being more reactive than proactive.
Right,
which
and
is-
I did state, and we have had a lot of bad accidents in that stretch. So, and, they did take my advice, they listened to what I had to say, but, so.
Thank
That's
you.
it. All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go.
Chief Phillips.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, I just want to inform everybody that we asked for a JAG grant that we partner with the Sheriff's Department typically every year. And this year we applied for the grant for in-car mobile radios for all of our vehicles, us and the Sheriff's Department. And we were granted that, so earlier I got permission from the Board of Works to go ahead and utilize and get our mobile radios for all our in-cars on its way. We haven't had in-car radios in over 10 years probably. And so, we just got the new handhelds and it wears on them. When you have those on the whole time, 8 hours a day, sometimes 16, it wears on them, and so the life expectancy on the handhelds will last a lot longer. So it's a no-match grant. They pay for it all, so that's that. As far as our incidents go, we had 34 accidents. Just touching bases real quick on the Park Road issue, we're gonna have to have something there, because in that little stretch of 24th and 27th Street, say, that's a pretty high accident all year long, and they're typically some pretty bad ones. So there's gotta be some kind of, besides a lane control, necking it down, I think we gotta have some kind of control over that, so. 253 traffic stops for the month of February, with a total of 957 incidents. Any questions on our February incidents? All right, so on to the monthly report. Our overtime is down to about 5,500 gallons of fuel, 2,096 gallons of fuel. Department training, we had 82 hours of department training. K-9 had 16 hours of training and 1 school search. Our detectives in February took in 13 new cases. They closed 9, they have 4 open, and they made 5 felony arrests. Today was our new hires' first day of work. Logan Seal, we're waiting on perf. That typically takes at least a month. So we're having training in the department with our Spillman system and our procedures, working with detectives and some of 911. And also, I don't know if you heard us talking about it in the past with our Spillman server. It was on its last leg. It's unserviceable anymore. All the equipment came and it was installed last week. We're just waiting for Motorola to come in and migrate all our old Spillman into the new Spillman system. So can't wait for that. And we're on borrowed time with that system. So Any questions?
Real quick, Chief, are we gonna have anything extra for the 8th? Are we expecting a big influx or anything?
Yeah,
For that?
nobody will be off per se for
Right.
shift. So that's, all my manpower, I mean, I'm limited with that, but, on first and second shift, everybody should be there, so. Yeah. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any old business? Miscellaneous business? Public, came by from the public, I think, said, speech time. Never works. Okay. If not, we'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And a motion second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.